Okay. How's everybody doing today? Hey, good. Let me make sure. I think I'm live. Woo, I'm live. Hello to everybody out there. Hello to everybody in here. Yeah, so everybody's got everything they need. Anybody need we're not necessarily going to use the blocks, but sometimes they're nice for just sitting. And just get comfortable however you would like to be comfortable, whether that's seated or laying down. I'm just going to talk for a little bit before we actually start our practice. So I don't expect you to sit upright and you can lay down and relax if you want to. So for those of you who are meeting me for the first time, my name is Amanda Parr, and I am a very passionate and earnest yoga student and practitioner for the past 25 years or so. And I've also had the privilege of being a representative of this ancient lineage of wisdom for the past 20 years as a certified yoga teacher. I regularly teach classes here at Mount Nevis and also at Awali Beach Resort. I offer some retreats here, some different offerings, Thai yoga massage and things like that. If you're meeting me for the first time and we're not already connected, I have a sign-up sheet out on the table out by the door that if you want to leave your email or your number for WhatsApp, I have a WhatsApp group I can add you to for local classes. And then if you want to leave your email, I send out maybe like 1 or 2 emails a month just to let you know what's going on. I also offer things online. So if you're interested in just staying connected and seeing what's going on and what I have on offer, then leave me your details so that I can share those things with you. I don't send out spam or anything like that. That annoys me, so I'm not going to do that to you. So welcome to the International Day of Yoga, June 21st. This is an actual holiday that's recognized by the United Nations, and it was started in India 11 years ago. India is the birthplace of yoga. And it's just a way of recognizing and honoring a tradition of practice that has been around for thousands of years, at least 5,000 years that we know of, based on the evidence and the texts that we have. But it's possible that it's much older than that. And so I feel very privileged to be a part of carrying on this practice, and you guys, just by being here and participating in International Day of Yoga and by just learning about yoga, taking an interest in yoga, you are also contributing to that movement of carrying these threads of wisdom from this very ancient tradition into the present and sharing it with the next generation of people so that people can continue to learn and benefit from the practice of yoga. So I just want to tell you a little bit about how I ended up in this position, teaching yoga. It's not something that I would have expected, or anybody who knew me when I was young probably never would have expected this of me. When I was young, I wanted to be a comedian. And I wasn't necessarily funny. I just really appreciated comedy. I wanted to be on Saturday Night Live. I wanted to work for David Letterman, which I actually did for a while. But I wanted to be a marine biologist as well. And we actually have a marine biologist in the house today, too. So I am a scuba diving instructor as well. So that gives me a little bit of a taste and outlet to that dream. But anyway, I discovered yoga for myself because of a Beatles song. I'm a big Beatles fan. And there's one of my favorite songs called Across the Universe. And now that I'm a yogi and I can listen to the lyrics of the song Across the Universe, to me, it's the lyrics of this song so clearly describe meditation. And I don't actually know if that's what John Lennon had in mind when he wrote that song, but I don't actually really want to know because I've already decided in my mind that it's about meditation. And it would make sense too, because the Beatles did back in the 60s travel to India and study meditation and study yoga. And so a lot of their later songs have been inspired by that experience. But in the song Across the Universe, in the chorus, there's lyrics that say, Jai Guru Deva Om. And sometime in my late teens, after I had left Indiana, where I'm from, and I was living in New York City as a young adult, for the first time, I contemplated these lyrics. I suddenly asked, like, what are these words? What is this language? And what does it mean? And these were in the early days of the internet. So I did my dial-up and went onto the Yahoo search engine. Google wasn't a thing back then, it was Yahoo. And I typed in Jai Guru Deva Om into the Yahoo search engine. And from that moment forward, like, my life changed. I was bombarded with information about yoga and about meditation and a mix of different things involving Eastern thought and philosophy that I had not been exposed to where I came from. And I remember so clearly the feeling of when I was first learning yoga, it didn't feel like I was learning or discovering something new. It was almost like a remembrance of something very primordial that was already in me, that was just a part of me. And I was just kind of remembering it and suddenly becoming aware of it. And the more I learn about yoga, the more this makes sense. Because yoga is actually, from a traditional point of view, it's a spiritual practice. And yoga is a system of observances and practices that guide us back to our spiritual core. And some of you might resonate with that, and some of you might be going, what is she talking about? Because in modern yoga is often portrayed simply as an exercise routine. And so for some people, that's all they've ever experienced of yoga is, these different exercises. And it's very much emphasized, like, the fitness and the wellness aspect of yoga. And that very much is a part of yoga, but it's only one little part. So in general, yoga, the practice of yoga, not only helps us to manage the difficult conditions of physical life, of being in this physical body, the difficulties that come with that. Helps us to manage the elements of nature, both outside of us and internally, and helps us to find clarity to be able to see past the surface of all of the stimulation and the activity and the ripples of the demands of our physical world, and to be able to sink past the surface and be guided back to our spiritual center, the part of us that has existed before this life, the part of us that will exist after this life. And according to the Vedas, which are the ancient texts that they're ancient spiritual texts that yoga was derived from, the universe is described as consciousness. Everyone and everything in the universe is made up of this same divine consciousness, and it's just being expressed in different ways. And so the practice of yoga is a recognition of that and guiding us back to that knowledge of that oneness and that interconnectedness of our own individual self with something greater. So yoga is a spiritual practice at its core, but it's not a religion. I think it's really important to point that out. Anybody from any religion who practices any kind of religion can practice yoga. And even people who aren't religious and don't resonate with any particular path or religion can also practice yoga. And that's because yoga, even though it's a spiritual practice, it doesn't, there's no dogma. It doesn't dictate that you follow any specific path. It doesn't insist that you label or express your spiritual feelings or spiritual experiences in any one particular way. So most of the time when we disagree about spiritual matters based on our religious upbringing or what we believe, it usually comes down to just a difference in our language and what words we're using to label different things, and what the different ways that we use to express and describe these experiences that are very difficult to label and to describe. So yoga is simply a practice that allows us to experience our higher self or our true consciousness. Maybe you call it the Holy Ghost, maybe you call it God, maybe you call it the divine, maybe you call it the Most High. Whatever it is that you, however it feels to you, it's all the same thing. And that is what yoga is doing, is bringing us back to who we truly are. Yeah. So besides these physical practices, this whole system of yoga, we have different aspects to the yoga practice. We have a code of ethics as yogis, our yamas, and different observances called our niyamas. I'm not going to go through all of those right now, but if you're interested, I encourage you to look into the 8 limbs of yoga. So around 300 AD, a book was written called the Patanjali Yoga Sutras. And it's the first text that we know of that systematically defines what yoga is, that says this is what yoga is and this is how we practice it. And these are all the different ways that we can practice yoga. There were other texts that referred to yoga and the spiritual practice of yoga that came long before that. But the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali is like the first book that kind of maps out, like, this is what yoga is and this is how we practice. And so according to the Patanjali Yoga Sutras, we have 8 limbs of yoga. The first limb of yoga is, first 2 limbs of yoga is the yamas and the niyamas. And the yamas are like it's like our ethical practice. Because if we are returning to our core and wanting to experience a higher level of consciousness, then certain behaviors, certain actions keep us at a lower level of vibration, and we cannot reach there with certain behaviors, such as violence and not speaking the truth and taking more than we need, and greed and things like that. And so the first sort of limb of yoga addresses, that there's certain conduct for raising our level of consciousness and becoming more conscious spiritual beings. And then we have further limbs that I won't list them all now, but just different steps that we can follow regarding the yoga practice. Only one of those limbs is the physical yoga practice, the asanas. And the physical yoga practice that most people are familiar with, these stretches and exercises and breathing practices and things like that, this part of the practice is actually designed to help prepare us physically and mentally for experiencing the deeper realms of who we are. And if you're practicing yoga just for that reason, just for the sake of feeling good in your body and having mental clarity, that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly okay. That's a perfectly sane reason to practice yoga. But just so you know that, you know, the greater practice of yoga is much more than that. And so these practices that we do are meant to work tension out of our system, restlessness out of our body that prevents us from being able to be still. Because it's only in stillness, when we're able to still the body, when we're able to still and quiet the mind, that we can descend into the deeper layers of our being. And so this is sort of the emphasis of the practice in modern. Does anybody have any questions that they would like to ask about yoga? Okay, if you think of anything after we practice, if anybody has any questions whatsoever about yoga, I would love to answer them to the best of my ability. So let's get started with our yoga practice. If you're already lying down, you can stay there. If you want to lie down, you can lie down. If you feel comfortable sitting, you can stay seated. We're going to start with some foundational pranayama. And pranayama is also one of our 8 limbs of yoga. And the word prana describes the vital energy that flows through us, that makes us conscious, alive, and breathing. It's like the life essence. In some other traditions, like in Chinese tradition, it's referred to as qi. And so in yoga, we refer to it as prana. Ayama means to harness or to control, to manage. And so pranayama practices are meant to train us how we can control the flow of the vital life force energy within us. And the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali say that we control our mind, we can control the physiology of our body by learning how to control the prana, the chi, the vital life force within us. So how do we do that? The breath is like a vehicle via which that vital life force moves. If our breath stops, then not long after, maybe a few minutes later, maybe 5 minutes later, that vital life force will leave the physical structure. Okay, so we can learn to control the prana by learning how to manage and control our own breathing. So this is one of the fundamental aspects of yoga, is pranayama and learning how to control our breath. So we're going to start with a very basic breath control practice called Dirgha Swasa, which is sometimes called Dirgha Pranayama or simply deep yogic breathing. Basically teaches us how to use our breathing muscles, how to use the capacity of our lungs, and how to control the flow of the breath. So if you want to practice this laying down, you can. If you want to practice this seated, if you are choosing to sit, I want you to find a comfortable posture that doesn't take a lot of effort. So you should feel very strong, you should feel alert, you should feel stable and upright. But you should also feel very relaxed and at ease. And if you don't feel that way easily, then you're perfectly normal. And that's one of the reasons we practice the exercises and the yoga asanas, to prepare the body so that we can more easily find that comfort and descend a little bit deeper and work with the energetic system. So sometimes it helps just to close the eyes so that you can shut down the visual cortex and turn the awareness within. Of course, meditation is the foundation of our yoga practice. Meditation isn't some magical, mystical experience that only happens once in a lifetime. It's something that it's simply an expanded state of awareness that we can tune into just by quieting our minds, focusing our energy in one place. We can do that just by noticing the flow of our own breathing. The breath is always present. As long as you're with the breath, you are here in this moment. The breath acts like a bridge between the physical body and the deeper realms. Just take a few moments to tune into your own rhythmic pulse of consciousness via the breath. And now we're going to gradually begin to deepen and expand the breath. When you're ready for your next inhalation, deliberately soften and expand the lower abdomen. Feel it expand like a balloon blowing up. And when you can't breathe in anymore, just let that breath out. You can even place a hand on your lower abdomen if you want to feel that expansion. Breathing in, deliberately softening and expanding just the lower abdomen for now. And as you breathe out, just feel the lungs deflate. Because of poor posture caused by gravity kind of weighing us down, because of tension and stress and anxiety that we hold in our body, the so-called breathing muscles can get kind of tight and restrictive. And so part of this practice is bringing awareness to any tightness or restriction in the abdomen. Each inhalation, belly softening and expanding. The breath out is effortless for now. Now I want you to bring the awareness to your lower ribs. You can just kind of feel them somewhere around the middle of your abdomen. Feel the lowest part of your ribs. And maybe place your hands there just to feel them. You can have one hand on each side, maybe. And on your next breath in, allow the belly to soften and expand, but also feel the lower ribs expanding outwards. Feel that subtle movement in the ribs and see if you can, just through that conscious awareness, facilitate more expansion than usual. Now I want you to place your hands around your back, recognizing that the ribs also expand around the back of your body. And do the same thing. Just take a couple of deep breaths allowing the rib cage to expand through the back of your body as well. Notice any tightness, any restriction, no judgment. That tightness and restriction didn't arrive overnight. It's not going to suddenly dissolve all at once. It's just by bringing your awareness to it with each breath in and each breath out, you're deliberately expanding that space and retraining your body that these are spaces that you can expand. And next, I want you to bring your hand up to your chest, up by your collarbones. Maybe your thumb and your fingers can touch the clavicles and the palm just resting on the chest. And next breath in, you're expanding your belly, you're expanding your rib cage, but then allowing the chest and collarbones to slightly rise as you bring the breath deliberately up into the very top of the lungs. And the exhalation is natural and passive. Just notice that slight little movement in the chest as you bring the breath to the very narrow apex of the lungs. And now you can place your hand wherever it's comfortable. You can keep it on the belly, you can keep it on the ribs, you can keep it on the chest, or just have your hands resting in your lap. And I want you to combine all three of those movements. So the breath coming to the depths of the lungs, you feel the lower abdomen expand, you feel the rib cage expand in all directions. You feel the chest and collarbones rise at the very top of the breath. And now the exhalation. The exhalation is natural and passive at first. But when you reach the very end of the exhalation, you can engage the abdominal muscles and pull the belly button inwards towards the spine and lengthen the exhalation to be longer than usual. Pause there for a moment. And then inhale, expand, slowly fill up the lungs, expand, expand, expand. Perhaps pause for a moment at the top of the breath. And then when it's time to exhale, you exhale, natural, passive, effortless. But then at the end of that breath, engaging the abdominals, pulling the belly button inwards towards the spine. This is Dirghaswasam, sometimes called the deep three-part breath, deep yogic breathing. This is the foundation of all of our other breathing practices, and this can also be practiced throughout our asana practice, our physical yoga practice. And now we're just going to begin to incorporate some movements with our breath. If you're not already sitting up, maybe reach your arms overhead and just give the body a nice long stretch. Take a long breath in. And then on the exhale, bring your knees towards your chest. And from here, you can come up to a seated position by either rolling over onto your side or placing your hands behind your thighs and rocking forwards and backwards until you reach a seated position. And if you've been sitting for a while and you need to stretch out your legs and just give them a little wiggle, go ahead and do that. Coming back into your comfortable seat. And on your next exhalation, drawing the chin in towards your chest and feeling that length through the back of your neck and the back of the body. And then on the inhalation, drawing the chin up towards the ceiling and feeling that expansion through the throat and through the front of the body. Exhale, draw the chin down towards the chest. And inhale the chin back up towards the sky. Do this 2 more times with the length of your own long, slow, deep yogic breath. Using the capacity of your lungs, feeling that expansion as you fill the lungs from bottom to top. And emptying the lungs as completely as possible as the chin presses in towards the chest. And when you're finished with that round without rushing, bringing the head and neck back to center. And on your next exhalation, drawing the right ear towards the right shoulder. Emptying the lungs, maybe even pausing for a moment at the end of that breath, and then using the breath in to come back to center, and using the next breath out to draw the left ear towards the left shoulder. And inhale back to center, and continue that a couple of more times. And rather than thinking exclusively about the movement, approach this as a breath control practice and simply allowing the movement of the body to flow like water with your own breathing. And in this way, you are directing the flow of the prana. Where the mind goes, that's where the prana flows. So whatever your attention is on, that is where your energy is going. If your attention, if your energy is concentrated on the breath in this moment in time, you are having a powerful effect on the flow of prana. When you finish this next round, make sure you've done it the same amount of times on both sides. Take your time, no rush. Come back to center. And then we're going to look over our right shoulder, just moving the head and neck. And then inhale back to center and exhale, look over the left shoulder. And come back to center and look over the right shoulder. Do that a couple more times with your own breath. Doing this with the intention of freeing up the nadis, the energetic channels via which the prana is flowing. And because of tension, because of emotional blockages, the prana is not always able to flow through freely. And if that's not addressed, then it eventually leads to dysfunction and disease on a physical and mental level. So we're doing this as a way of freeing up the prana. One more time on each side, take your time, and then come back. And let's just roll the shoulders a little bit. Shoulders press up towards the ears, and then they press back, squeezing the shoulder blades together. They press down, and then they press forward. And then we just do that in one smooth circle, just freeing up any tension in the shoulders, the upper body, which is somewhere we often hold a lot of our tension. And after you've done a few circles in one direction, you can stop and you can do some circles in the opposite direction. Just notice when the mind has a tendency to drift away, completely normal. When you notice that the mind is somewhere else other than here in this moment, deliberately bring it back to the breath. This is a very subtle but powerful practice. One more round and then come back to neutral. And at this point, it might feel good to stretch out your legs. We've been sitting for a while. Just free up the lower body now. So it might feel good just to sit back on your hands, give yourself some support. And then let's wiggle the toes, scrunch up the feet, and then spread the toes out. And then scrunch up the feet, and then spread the toes out. And point your toes away from you and back towards you. You could do that with the breath. We're still conscious of the flow of breath. Using that conscious flow of breath to help us to free up any areas of resistance, tightness. And you can also rotate the ankle joints by drawing circles with the feet. And then reversing and doing some circles in the opposite direction. And doing some heel slides. One heel slides forward as the other one slides back. The knees remain straight. One heel slides forward as the other one slides back. This is a movement coming from the hip joints. Just freeing up the energy in hip joints. And next we'll bend our right knee. Let the knee fall open. We'll take a hold of our right foot with our left hand and hold our right knee with our right hand and gently rock from side to side. Just a little bit of movement in the hip joint to help get some synovial fluid, which is like a viscous fluid, which lubricates the joints, and it also plays a role in carrying away like toxins and pathogens and old debris out of the joints and out of the body. You can also kind of roll around on your glutes a little bit, a little massage, just kind of waking up the hip joints. Another thing you can try is placing the right hand behind the leg, around the back of the thigh, and draw circles with the heel. Notice that movement in your hip joint. Notice that movement in your elbows, your knees, your shoulders. Each circle can get a little bigger, really just juicing up those joints and flushing them out. And then you can reverse and go in the opposite direction a few times. And then hold on to the big toe with the index finger, the middle finger, and the thumb. And pull the knee back towards your armpit. Sometimes called the bow and the arrow. So you can pull it back like it's an arrow getting ready to fly, and then press it forward and feel that nice stretch through the back of the leg. And inhale it back, and exhale, press it forward. Do that one more time with the breath. Inhale it back, and exhale it forward. Keep it stretched out, and then let it slowly lower, lower, lower. Wiggle the feet, windshield wiper the feet. We do the same thing with the opposite side. So the left knee comes in towards the chest. We let it fall open a little bit. And we'll hold on to the the left foot with the right hand. Hold on to the knee with the left hand and gently rock. Rock from side to side. You can roll around on the glute a little bit. You can lift the leg up high. Rock from side to side. Make any movements that feel natural. Notice any areas where you feel the joint feels kind of sticky or restrictive, and just give it your attention for a few moments. Send the breath to that area. Use the breath to send the vital life force into those spaces. You can also stir the pot. Place the left hand around the back of the thigh and draw circles with the foot. And then reverse and do a few in the opposite direction. And then we'll do the bow and arrow. We hold on to the big toe with the index finger, middle finger, and thumb, and we draw the knee back towards us, back towards the armpit, bend the knee in, and then exhale, press it forward. And inhale, bend it back, and exhale, press it forward. Do it one more time with the breath, and press it forward. And slowly lower down. Let's just pause for a few moments. Close the eyes and just tune into the subtle energetic body. Notice the breath. Notice the heat that has started to build up a little bit in the body. Notice how already you're starting to feel a little bit more stable, a little bit more easeful in the physical body, the mind becoming a little bit quieter. And we'll continue with some more movements. We'll transition onto our hands and knees. And we'll warm up the spine with some cat-cow exercises. So on the exhalation, we tuck the tailbone, we push into the hands, and tuck the chin, rounding the spine up towards the sky. And on the inhalation, we relax the belly. We tilt the tailbone up towards the sky. We open up the chest. We draw the shoulders away from the ears. We tilt the chin up towards the sky, lift the eyes. And on the exhale, we round the spine, push into the hands, tuck the tailbone, tuck the chin. On the inhale, we lengthen, expand, open. And now continue this a few times with your own breath. And rather than thinking exclusively about the movement, allow your focus to be on the breath. And continue with those long, slow, deep yogic breaths, expanding, softening the belly, expanding the rib cage in all directions, bringing the breath all the way to the apex of the lungs and pausing there for a moment. And then the exhalation is natural and passive at first until you reach the end of that exhalation, pulling the belly button toward the spine as you press up into your cat pose. After this next round, coming back to neutral, and we'll shift our hips to the right, knees over our left shoulder. Creating a little bit of lateral flexion in the spine, just a little bit of side bending. You feel a nice openness through the right side of the body when you do this. Nice stretch. And then shift back to center, and exhale, shift the hips to the left and gaze over your right shoulder. Feel that nice stretch on the left side of the body. Now do this a few more times with your breath. Inhale back to center. Exhale, shift the hips to the right. Gaze over your left shoulder. When it's time to inhale, inhale back to center. Do the other side with your own breath. Approach this movement as a meditation. And to approach it as a meditation, all you have to do is have all your energy and all your focus concentrated in this one place. Just letting yourself feel all the physical sensations that are involved in this movement, staying anchored with the breath, not letting the mind be carried away somewhere else. And after this next round on each side, you can return back to neutral. And we'll lift the left leg next. Stretch the heel towards the horizon behind you. See if you can find your balance and lift the right arm at the same time. Take a breath. And exhale them both back down. Same thing on the other side. Lift the left arm and the right leg at the same time. Take a long, slow breath. Reach in opposite directions and exhale back down. Continue to do that with your own breath. Inhale, lift right arm, left leg. Exhale them down. Inhale, left arm, right leg. Exhale them down. Do that a couple more times. This is called a contralateral movement. So we're getting both hemispheres of the brain working together. This is very stimulating for the brain. Stimulates the corpus callosum, which is like a bundle of nerves which connects the right and left hemispheres. It gets like the yin and the yang aspects of ourselves kind of harmonized and working together. Let's do one more on each side. Takes a lot of focus. And exhale back to center. Lower your arms and your elbows to the floor. And on the next inhalation, twist around to the right, reach the right arm up, and look up at the fingers. Maybe it feels good to wave the fingers and rotate the wrist while the arm is extended. And then exhale that right arm down, and then inhale, lift to the left arm, twist around to the left, look up at your fingers, wave the fingers, rotate the wrists, and exhale back down. Do that a couple more times with your own breath. Inhale, lengthen and expand, open, fill up the lungs, and then use the breath out and back down. Use the next breath in to lengthen, expand, open, and reach. And use the breath out to come down. Do that one more time on each side, approaching this as a breath control practice, using the breath to direct the prana, the vital life force, opening up those channels, clearing away any obstacles, clearing away any tension, resistance, stickiness, congestion, whether it be in the physical body, whether it be in the energetic body, whether it be something mental and emotional that is stuck, just releasing that. And then once you finish this next round, let's widen the knees and touch the big toes together and sit back towards the heels. Let the chest and the forehead sink to the floor, coming into child's pose. And let's just take a few moments here. Just connecting with the breath. And just feeling this nice release and accepting for this moment. There's nothing we need to do. You can just be here. Let's use this next breath to come back up into our tabletop. Touch our toes to the mat. Have our fingers spread out. Push all of our weight equally into all parts of both hands, and then lift our butt up and our knees up. Press into all parts of the hands as if the floor underneath you might actually move. Feel a straight line from your wrists up to your tailbone, reaching up with your butt as if you might actually touch the sky with your hips. Come up a little bit onto your tippy toes and lift the butt even higher. And keeping that same height, maybe then let the heels float down to the floor. Maybe they touch, maybe they don't. Not important. Might feel good to pedal the heels towards the floor one at a time. The right heel presses down as the left one lifts. Left heel presses down as the right one lifts. Maybe a little bit of twist in the upper body, looking under opposite armpits as you do this. Using this as a way just to free up those energetic channels and remove any tension or restlessness from the body. And keeping the knees a little bit bent, we're going to walk the right foot in towards the hands, followed by the left foot. Walk the right hand back, left hand back, and then walk your hands just above your knees so that you come into a half forward bend. Ardha Uttanasana. Knees can be a little bit bent and flat in the back. Check in with your lower back, and if it's okay with it, you can straighten the knees a little bit more and reach the sitting bones, which are the rounded bones at the base of your pelvis. Reach them towards the horizon behind you. Draw the shoulders away from the ears. Feel the crown of the head lengthening towards the horizon in front of you. Feel the strength required to hold this position. Just that internal heat building up in the body, which is burning away any impurities. And then on the next exhalation, keep that length in the spine as you round forward and let the arms dangle. Letting go of the weight of the head. Maybe nodding the head yes, shaking the head no, checking to see that there's no unnecessary tension in the neck or shoulders. And that stability in the lower body is facilitating this release in the upper body. And now on the next breath in, we're going to rise back up to our half forward bend. You can use the core stability muscles to do that, or if you need a little bit of help, you can walk the hands up the legs. We pause here, take a breath. And then on the next breath in, we're going to push our feet into the floor. We're going to engage and lift through the pelvic floor and slowly rise all the way up to standing. Just pause here and let yourself feel the body. Just notice how you're feeling so far. And then we're going to walk towards the top of our mat. We're going to continue with a few rounds of Surya Namaskar, which is sun salutations. And these are a series of 12 different movements that flow from one into the next. And depending on whatever school of yoga you've studied with, the sun salutations can vary a bit between the different schools of yoga. So I'm just going to do a very basic version. And the aim of this practice is to get our body and our breath and our mind all flowing together and working as one. So it's not important how fast you move. It's not as important how aesthetically pleasing your postures are. It's more about finding this internal harmony. Okay, so if you've never done it before and you want to watch the first round, you're welcome to do that. And then when you feel comfortable, you can join in. And if you're experienced with this already, you're welcome to move at your own pace with your own breath rather than following my instructions. So we have to start at the top of our mat. So walk all the way to the top of your mat so that you have room to stretch back on your mat. And we start in Tadasana, which is our mountain pose. And this position helps us, it's like a meditation while standing. It helps us to bring our awareness to how we're holding our body, because sometimes we have a tendency to shift more weight on one side of the body or to hold one shoulder up higher, and we don't realize it. And this leads to tension patterns and issues over time. So let's just do a little meditation from the feet upwards before we begin. Spreading out the toes, facing them down, and just rocking from side to side and forwards and backwards, and finding an equal distribution of weight through all parts of both feet. And then bring the awareness upwards through the legs. The legs are strong and sturdy, but the knees aren't locked. There's no unnecessary tension. The pelvic floor muscles are slightly engaged and lifted to give this stability and foundation for the body. The spine is growing taller, it's buoyant, it's light. The head is just floating on top of the spine. The shoulders are rolled down and back. The arms are relaxed. This is Tadasana, the mountain pose. Our beginning Surya Namaskar with position 1. We bring our palms together at our chest, connecting with the heart center. Position 2, we link our thumbs together. We stretch our fingers out, and then lengthen the arms up alongside the ears. And on the next breath in, stabilize the lower body and open up the front of the body to the sky, looking at the fingers. And on the next exhalation, we hinge out and down, all the way to our forward bend. Relax the body, relax the shoulders, let go of the weight of the head. And then place the fingers next to the toes, bend the knees, and stretch the right leg way back on the mat. And then lower the right knee to the floor. You come into this low lunge position. And then we let our hips sink, 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 sink. And we let the upper body lift and lengthen. Now on the next exhalation, we're going to bring our left foot back to meet our right, and we find our way into this downward dog position, or this inverted V. So if you need to come onto your knees first to do it, and then push up, or you may be able to just stretch it all the way back on the mat, straight into your down dog. Take 1 or 2 breaths here. And then our next position, we lower our knees. We shift our body weight forward so that our chest is hovering over our hands. Our elbows are over our wrists. And keeping our pelvis raised, we lower our chest between our hands. A stang pranam, the 8-limbed pose. And then on our next breath in, we slide our body forward and up. And we squeeze the area in between our shoulder blades. We use the strength in our upper back to lift the chest and the head off the floor. On the next exhalation, we push into the hands, press back into our down dog. Take a breath or 2 here. The next position, we bring our right foot forward in between our hands and our left knee on the floor. We find our way back to this low lunge, only we're on the other side now. We let our lower body sink, 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 surrendering it to gravity, and the upper body can lift. On the next exhalation, we're going to push off that back foot and bring the left foot forward to meet the right and find our way back to our standing forward bend, Uttanasana. Take a breath or two here, and then we use the breath in to rise back up, sweeping the arms out and up, opening front of the body to the sky, and then use the next exhalation to arrive back where we started, and Jali Mudra, connecting with the heart center, the seat of the soul. Take a moment just to see how you feel after one round of Surya Namaskar. This exercise is meant to get out all the tension from the body, to get out the restlessness from the body and just purify and clear the energy. So let's do another round. Position 1, palms together at the chest. Position 2, lift the thumbs, stretch the fingers out and up. Open the upper body or the front of the body to the sky. Exhale, hinge out and down, release into Uttanasana. This time the left leg is going to come back, the left knee on the floor, sink and lift. Maybe this time you want to lift the upper body up and sweep the arms out and up to find that balance. And then use the next exhalation to sweep the arms down and bring this right foot back to meet the mat, downward dog. Take a breath or two here. Next position is a Stang Pranam. We lower our knees. We shift our body weight forward. We keep our hips elevated as we lower chest and chin between the hands. And then we inhale, slide the body forward and up, squeeze into the area between the shoulder blades, drawing the shoulders away from the ears, expanding the chest. Baby Cobra. And on the next exhalation, we push into the hands, back up to downward dog. Look back at your feet. Have a breath or two here if you need it. And then on the next exhalation, we're going to bring the left foot forward in between the hands. Lower the right knee first if you need to, and pull that leg forward. Sink, sink, sink into your low lunge. Maybe elevate. Sweep the arms out and up. And exhale, sweep the arms down. Now we're going to push off that back foot. Bring the right foot forward to meet the left. Find our way back into Uttanasana. Use the next breath in to rise up. This can be done in one breath or two breaths, so that you're using the breath in to expand and open, and you're using the breath out to arrive back where you started. Pause for a moment. Notice the heat building in the body. Notice that energy feeling like it's a little bit more vibrant, flowing more freely. Body feeling more alive. And we continue with another round. Inhale. Open up with the inhale. And hold down with the exhale. Right leg back, right knee on the floor. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, calm down. Left foot back to meet the right, downward dog. Take a breath or two here when you're ready. Exhale, knees, chest, chin, pelvis stays raised. Let's down pranam. Use the inhale to rise up. The exhale to press back. Right foot forward. Left knee on the floor. Rise up with the inhale. Exhale, sweep down. Come forward. Use the inhale to rise up. And open up into your back bend and use the exhale, palms together at the chest. Take a full deep inhalation followed by a complete exhalation. One more round. See if you can do this with your own breath. So every time you open, you're inhaling and you're using the exhalation to fold. Inhale. Exhale. Left foot back. Inhale. Exhale, down dog. Knees, chest, chin. Inhale, lift up into your cobra. Exhale, back to your down dog. Left foot forward, right knee on the floor. Inhale. Exhale. Forward bend. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, palms together at the chest and Jali Mudra, back where you started. Lower the arms, shake the body out. Any tension that's come to the surface, just set it free. Let's turn and face this beautiful scenery over here. We're at Mount Nevis Hotel, got the mountain. Can't quite see the sea from here. And let's find our mountain pose. So we're going to just practice a little bit of balance. And cultivating balance is happening at different layers, different levels of our awareness. So obviously we are cultivating this physical balance, being able to stand on one foot, for example. But in order to find that physical balance, we also have to find an internal balance. So there's two techniques we can use in yoga to help us find that internal balance. And one of them is called drishti. Drishti is a visual focus. So you can look out onto the horizon and find somewhere to fixate your gaze. And ideally, it's something that's not moving around too much. Okay, so rather than it being like a branch of a tree that's waving around, maybe go towards the trunk of the tree or some kind of line on the horizon, or maybe just one little spot on the floor or on the ground in front of you. And then we're going to find that physical stability. We find that balance between strength and softness in the body, our hatha balance. So close your eyes and bring the awareness to the feet and just let the awareness come up through the body and see if there's any parts of the body that are over contracting, that are overworking, that you can just relax. Find more of a sense of ease, find that balance. Or if there's any parts of the body that are feeling a little bit lazy, a little bit slack, you can just bring some energy into those areas, just a little bit of engagement and awareness. Now open your eyes again and find that point that you're fixating your gaze. And let's shift our weight over onto our right foot. And take your time, just letting your body adjust to having all of the weight over on the right foot. And when you feel ready, you can externally rotate the left hip and just place the left heel on top of the right foot or just prop it up against the right ankle. Okay, so all of the weight is on the right foot and we're just adjusting to this sensation. And if you feel balanced here, you can slide the foot up to the inside of the lower leg. If you feel balanced there, maybe the foot wants to come a little bit higher to the inside of the upper leg. As long as the foot is either above or below the knee and not on the knee. Finding your focus, finding that internal balance. Bringing the palms together in the chest. This position is called Vrikshasana, the tree pose. You can visualize your foot as the roots of the tree. You can visualize energetic foot and the earth. Very grounded, very stable. The legs, like the trunk of the tree, also very stable, sturdy. That's your foundation. And the upper body is more like the branches of the tree. It can move a little bit. It can sway with the breeze a little bit. Have that stability of the lower body. If you're feeling good here, you can rise the arms up. Maybe open the branches of the tree and just feel that for a moment. Expand the chest. Find that sense of internal balance. Don't get frustrated with yourself. Just be in the moment. Let the experience unfold. And then coming out with control and ease, like a meditation. Coming out in reverse. Palms back to the chest. Lowering that left leg. Shifting the weight from side to side. Maybe shaking out that right leg a little bit. These positions like this, where we're putting all the weight on one side of our body, is a big carrying exercise. So it's really good for stimulating cell growth in our bones. So this helps keep our bones strong. Let's do that again, but this time on the left leg. So let's approach this like a meditation and take our time rather than rushing into it. And just come to your breath. Find that steadiness of your breath. Find that steadiness and that balance in your body. Use that visual concentration technique of drift feet. And when you're ready, shift the weight over onto your left foot. Give yourself a chance to adjust. Externally rotate that right hip and just place the right heel on top of the left foot. Or maybe bring that right foot up to the inside of the lower leg. Or the upper leg, either above or below the knee. And once you find your stability here, you can continue to grow taller by pressing the left foot into the floor and enhancing that energetic connection between the bottom of your foot and the earth. This is called Padavanga. At the same time, you can feel the right knee energetically pressing back towards the horizon behind you as the spine lifts up out of the pelvis, very buoyant, growing taller. Palms together at the chest. Find your internal balance. Find a sense of ease in the mind. You feel stable here. Maybe you want to reach the arms up overhead. Open up the branches of the tree. Feeling very stable and sturdy in the trunk of the tree, your lower body. Feeling very supple and very open in the upper body, in the branches of the tree. And then coming out of this position in slow motion with control and making palms back together in the chest. Lowering the right foot back down. Rocking from side to side a little bit. Maybe shaking out the legs. Shaking out the arms. Just release any final restless energy. And then you can lie down on your back. So I'm not going to stand like that. I'll just show you what we're going to do is lie down. This feels so good right now. I want you just to tune into all the sensations in the body. And just notice how the body feels after that asana practice. Just notice if maybe some discomfort that you were feeling in the body before maybe feels a little bit lighter, a little bit less oppressive. Body feels more relaxed, more supple, more open. Mind feels a little bit quieter, more stable. So this is the purpose of our asana practice, to bring us in to a position of steadiness and ease, Shatira Sukham Asana, so that we can more easily descend into the deeper layers of being and explore meditation. And another practice that helps us to release tension from the body is we can do some different relaxation techniques. And there's a practice called Yoga Nidra, and we're going to do some Yoga Nidra now. Yoga Nidra is translates as the yogic sleep. And it's not exactly like normal sleep. We're not going to lose consciousness and start snoring. course, if that happens, no worries, but it's not the practice. So in Yoga Nidra, we relax the body completely and deliberately. A lot of times we're holding tension in the body and we don't realize. We don't realize that we're tense and anxious and stressed, and we kind of disassociate with it. And just by bringing awareness to the different sensations of what it feels like to be tense and what it feels like to relax that tension helps to kind of train the subtle body to be able to relax more. So in Yoga Nidra, we first start with some deliberate tension of the muscles and then deliberate relaxation. So we're going to start by going through different parts of the body, tensing and releasing. Let's start with the right leg. So just bring the awareness to the right foot, the right leg, and curl the toes in and squeeze all the muscles in the foot and tense all the muscles up to the hip joint. And inhale, lift the right leg up off the floor, hold the breath and squeeze that leg tight, 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 tight. Squeeze all the muscles, tight, tight, tight. And then exhale, deliberately relax those muscles, let the foot float back down to the floor. Roll it from side to side, wiggle it, find a good place for it to settle. Just deliberately softening and releasing all that tension in the right. And let it become still. And let it rest. Forget about it. Next, we'll bring the awareness to the left foot, the left leg, curling the toes in, scrunching up the left foot, tensing all the way up to the hip joint. Inhale, lift that leg off the floor and hold the breath as you squeeze all the muscles tight, tight, tight from the toes up to the hip. Tight, 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 tight. And on the exhalation, deliberately release that tension. Let the leg flip back down to the floor. Gently roll it from side to side. Find a good place for that leg to settle. And just let it rest. Forget about it. Give it permission to rest. Bring the awareness to the glutes, the hips, pelvic floor muscles. You can tighten the pelvic floor muscles by engaging and lifting the pelvic floor, kind of a sensation like you're drawing the tailbone and the pubic bone closer together. Kind of like a squeezing, like you have to go to the bathroom and you're holding it in. Squeeze the glute muscles, the butt muscles, tight, 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 tight. And then on the next exhalation, deliberately soften and relax all of that tension. Feel the glutes melt into the floor. Feel the pelvic floor muscles soften. Feel the pelvis sink into the mat. And just take a moment to notice the lower body. Just feeling very relaxed. Knowing that with your conscious awareness, you can continue to relax it even more. We'll continue with the upper body, starting with the right arm, curling the right hand into a tight fist, squeezing all the muscles all the way up to the shoulder joint. Inhale, lifting that right arm off the floor, hold the breath for a few moments and squeeze everything tight, all your tension, all your frustration, all your stress in that right hand, squeeze it tight. And then exhale, let the hand unfurl, let the arm float down to the floor. And deliberately, consciously let go of that tension. Feel it dissolve into the ether. Roll it from side to side. Find the perfect place for that right arm to settle. And then just let it be. Next, bringing the awareness to the left hand, the left arm, squeezing the hand into a fist, lifting the arm off the floor, holding the breath, squeezing the hand, the wrist, the elbow, the arm, shoulder, tight, 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 tighter. And then let it go. Soften, soften, soften. Relax. Notice the middle of the body, the abdomen, the rib cage, the chest, the spine, the back, shoulder blades. And when you're ready for your next breath, slowly fill up the lungs from bottom to top and hold the breath at the very top of that inhalation. See if you can sip in a little bit more, maybe find a little bit more space, hold the breath, let the pressure build up a little bit, let it get uncomfortable for a few moments. Feel that pressure. And when you can't hold the breath any longer, just open the mouth and let it gush out like a big sigh coming out. Feel the body just deflate. And feel the whole middle of the body soften and relax and melt into the floor. Bringing the awareness to the head, the neck, and the face. Lifting the head slightly off the floor, tensing up the neck muscles, clenching the jaw, bite down hard, squeeze all the facial muscles towards the tip of the nose, tight prune face, scrunching up all the muscles in the face space. Just tight, 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 tight. And exhale, soften. Let the head float back down to the floor. Relax the neck muscles. Roll the head from side to side. Find a perfect place for the head to settle. Relax the jaw. Soften all the facial muscles. Soften the space in between the eyebrows. Now allow the mind's eye to travel through the body, starting in the toes, gradually making your way up towards the head. Gradually down the shoulders into the fingers. Gradually back through, making another circulation. It's feeling the consciousness circulate through physical body. Recognizing this deep state of relaxation that you have cultivated. Using your own conscious awareness, if you detect any areas of the body that are still tense or holding on, just soften by bringing the awareness to those areas. Bring the awareness to that subtle movement in your abdomen as you breathe in and out. Noticing that flow of vital life force energy, consciousness. The breath is like a windmill churning that consciousness through you. The breath requires no effort. That deep internal wisdom within you takes over. You can trust that internal wisdom. we'll sink a little bit deeper. Just take notice of what's happening in the mental realm. Just noticing any flickers of thought passing through, any images, any emotions, any feelings, without getting involved, without letting them stick, without resisting anything that you witness, without getting carried away by anything that you witness. Allowing yourself just to be an objective observer. Letting the thoughts arise and pass away, just like clouds drifting across the sky. And as you detach from the activity of the mind, you recognize that there's a sense of consciousness that exists beyond the body, beyond the mind even. The body and the mind are simply instruments that are used by this deeper consciousness. You allow yourself to sink a little bit deeper into this space of familiarity, just pure consciousness. A place of peace. Just let yourself settle into this space for a few minutes. Rest here. awareness back to the breath. Just connect with that subtle flow again. Just experiencing that pure consciousness within you, undisturbed by the ripples in the mind, undisturbed by the body. Imagine if you could spend more time in this state of awareness, how everything that you do, everything that you think and say and experience becomes more meaningful, more influential, more powerful, more conscious. This is the aim of our yoga practice. And as we prepare to return back to a more active state of consciousness, we can set an intention to bring this state of awareness with us. We can set an intention to continue our practice of yoga off the mat, taking these fundamentals out into our everyday activities. So as we move from moment to moment in life, staying anchored with the breath, knowing that the breath is natural, it's portable, it's always there, it's always available. It acts as a natural bridge between the physical body and the deeper realms of our being. By cultivating an awareness and some control of the breath, we're able to direct the prana, the vital life force within us. We're able to manage the fluctuations of mind. So let's set that intention for ourselves today to continue that awareness. As we gradually return some movement back to the body, wiggling the toes, wiggling the fingers, deepening the breath, making any movements that just occur naturally. As if you're waking up to an enhanced version of what you were before this practice. Might feel good to turn over onto one side and just pause there for a few moments. Don't rush yourself. We're on island time. You can just breathe in the sweetness of that thought that there's nowhere you have to be, that you can just be here in this moment with this experience. And eventually, when you do rise up, just finding a comfortable seat, settling into that comfortable seat. And our left hand can be resting on our knee. Maybe the index finger and the thumb naturally touch each other. With the right hand, we make a gentle fist and release the thumb and the last two fingers, and we close off our right nostril with the thumb and exhale completely out of the left nostril. When it's time to breathe in just through the left nostril and then close it off, release the thumb, and exhale completely from the right nostril. When it's time to inhale through the right, close it off, and exhale from the left. Nadi Shodhana, alternate nostril breathing. The pattern is exhale, inhale, change nostrils. Exhale, inhale, change nostrils. This is a cleansing and a purification of the Ida and the Pingala nadis, two main energetic channels that crisscross up this Sushumna, is the energetic spine. Just clearing away any final stagnation, congestion that needs to be cleared. And then the next time you exhale completely out of the right nostril, just let both hands come to the lap and touch the index finger and the thumb together and just feel that subtle pulse of energy between them. And allow yourself just to feel the culmination of this physical yoga practice. Notice how it's shifted the way you feel in the body and the mind. Cleared that pathway so that you can better experience that divine light of consciousness within you. Our theme for this year's Yoga Day is Yoga for One Earth and One Health. And yoga helps us to elevate our own consciousness and become aware of that energetic spiderweb of consciousness that connects us all, that connects us with everyone and everything else. And so from that perspective, when we raise our own vibration, when we raise our own consciousness, when we take care of ourselves, when we feel good in ourselves, then we have an energetic influence on everyone and everything else. So yoga is never a selfish act. It's an act of love that you get to share with everyone around you. So when you leave here today and you're feeling lighter, you're feeling stronger, you're feeling more peaceful, you're feeling more peaceful, everybody around you is going to experience that and benefit. So to me, that's what it means by yoga for one earth and one health. So we can seal off our practice today in some way that is meaningful. Perhaps by bringing the palms together at the chest, connecting to the heart center, the seat of the soul. And it's traditional in some yoga practices to end with namaste, which is a Sanskrit greeting, which translates to something like, the light within me recognizes and bows to the light. It's a way of recognizing that interconnectedness and honor. So namaste. Thanks. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Like I said before, your contribution. We've joined millions of people today. 193 countries celebrating the International Day of Yoga. So there's people all around the world. It's kind of cool to think about it in that way, you know, that we're a part of this movement of elevating our own consciousness and the collective consciousness together. So thanks for being a part of that. If anybody wants to stay after class, they have really awesome breakfast and brunch here at Mount Nevis Hotel. And they're offering 10% discount for yogis who participated today. So just make sure if you do stay and have breakfast, just make sure you get that discount and just enjoy the grounds. I'm going to be staying. So if anybody wants to join me and hang out with me, I might do something cool too. So if you want to make a day of it, or just spend an hour or two here, then feel free to join us and enjoy this nice day. Otherwise, have a great weekend. Nice to see you. If anybody isn't already connected to me with me and wants to stay connected, wants to know about future classes, there's a sign-up sheet on the table as you're leaving, or you can also just get with me and make sure that I have your details. I can put you on my email list or my WhatsApp list. So if there's anybody out there in the world watching live stream, namaste to you too.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. And if you borrowed one of my mats or blocks, if you don't mind just giving me a hand and giving it a quick wipe with Lysol. That's very helpful.
See my portion.
No, it's not pointed that way. Oh, there's a few people. Hi guys. All right. Happy yoga day. Have a good weekend, everybody.